Welcome back. We continue our discussion now about the impending Florida recount. Many of us lived through the recount in 2000, and it got pretty wild. One figure in the midst of what came to be known as the Brooks Brothers riot at Miami-Dade election headquarters was Joe Geller, and I had a chance to catch up with him recently. So, Joe, are you one of those Democratic lawyers that are in here to steal the election from the Republicans?
No, I'm one of those Democratic lawyers that are in here to make sure that everyone's vote gets counted.
So we've been through recounts before, you and I. You were at the heart of the 2000 recount. Talk to folks who don't remember or don't understand what it's like to be in the middle of it. What's it like?
Well, for one thing, it's chaotic. You get used to the idea that nobody knows what's going on. The people who say they do don't. And it's, you know, the elections officials are nonplussed by it, the canvassing board, all the participants. It's very confusing because it happens so rarely that it's really a significant recount. But the other thing about it that is not really amazing to me, but inspiring, is the degree to which people just step up. People just say, this is important, this matters, this counts. Everybody's vote has to be counted. This morning, I was making an argument in front of the canvassing board in favor of two people whose ballots were not being counted. They voted by mail. They forgot to sign it. So you can cure that. But rather than curing it, I guess they didn't want to take a chance of messing it up. They went to the polling place on Election Day to their precinct, cast a provisional ballot, and voted. And they're told that because they had turned in a vote by mail, even though the vote by mail was thrown out, their provisional ballot on Election Day wouldn't be counted either because they had sent a vote by mail and didn't do the cure. I think that's ridiculous. We argued.
So how long did that argument take?
Probably an hour and a half.
So an hour and a half for two votes that ended up not getting even counted.
And the funniest thing about it, if you want to think any of it's funny, I mean funny, peculiar, we don't know who they were. We have no idea if they were Democrats, they were Republicans, they were NPAs. All we know is two people tried to vote, and they didn't get to vote. They tried twice, and they didn't get their votes counted.
Do you think Republicans are trying to suppress the vote?
In general, yes. I mean, certainly in general, there are all kinds of things that are being done all over the country.
But here in this case now, are they trying to stop votes from being counted?
I am always hesitant to ascribe improper motives to people. But it seems to me that they should be supportive of counting all the ballots, not standing in opposition. Let's see how everyone voted, and then we'll know what the result is. So I don't like to make accusations, but.
What's your reaction to Governor Scott? We're taping this Friday afternoon, by the way, just so people understand. Thursday night.
Yeah, by the time they see this, you know, who knows what will have happened.
Well, we'll probably be heading towards a recount is what will happen on Sunday.
That for sure.
But on Thursday night, the governor came out from his official residence and made a very partisan, statement about how liberal Democrats are coming in to try to steal this election from Floridians. Was that appropriate for him?
I don't think so. I mean, what he should be saying is, as somebody who wants the voters to have supported him, he should be saying, let's get all the votes counted. Let's make sure everyone's voice is heard, and the results are the results. I thought it was improper.
But let me ask you this. Why is there always a problem in Broward? What is the issue that consistently seems to take place under Brenda Snipes' leadership in the Broward Elections Department? Is she the problem?
Well, I can only say to you that as somebody who was involved in recounts here in Dade County, including the one that you referenced, we've had our share of problems. Other places have. The governor apparently also criticized Palm Beach County. I haven't heard a lot of criticism of them in recent years. I don't think it's helpful right now to be talking about issues like that. I think now we should be focused on getting the votes counted and let that process play out. And afterwards we can talk about other issues. Now's not the time.
Do you have confidence in Brenda Snipes?
I have confidence that staff will get the votes counted. I wish it was done more quickly. I'm sure so do they.
But for instance, there were more votes cast in Dade County than in Broward County. Yet Dade County got it done fairly smoothly, arguing over a couple of ballots here and there. Broward County, the numbers just kept changing throughout the night, and it was never clear how many total ballots were actually submitted in the race.
We brought up another 162, I think it was, ballots today that weren't being counted. They said they weren't registered, but they had registration numbers. So we're going to look into that. So to say it was just the 2 that I had our final argument about is not really accurate. You know, I'm glad Dade County got the ballots counted quickly, but, you know, look at Arizona. There are going to be days there. I mean, that's, you know, apparently par for the course there. So I don't know what the dynamics were in Broward. I don't know, you know, how many, if it was a late flood of provisionals, if there were a lot of vote by mail submitted at the end. There could be a lot of factors. You know, my district is half Dade and half Broward, but for these purposes, I've been focusing on the Dade supervisor.
Let's go back to the 2000 recount again for a second. You were part of the infamous Brooks Brothers riot. Yes. This was an incident where you had gone into the elections office to get one of the vote cards, a generic blank one, just a sample ballot, so that people could, in the Democratic Party, could see exactly what it was talking about.
I actually had an expert with me, and I was waiting for the Democratic Party training ballot to show the expert on the machine in the lobby exactly how the system works. We found a flaw that by itself would have been enough to change the outcome.
Let me just stay with the story for a second. You take this sample ballot, which is nobody's vote, it's just a sample ballot, put it in your pocket, leave the supervisor of elections. A group of Republicans see you do it, start screaming at you that you're stealing votes. They follow you all the way into the lobby of the government center, Miami-Dade, the county hall. What was that experience like?
Terrifying. But let me say that they knew what was going on. I waited a long time in that lobby. I wasn't concerned by the fact there was a protest. I respect people's right to protest. After waiting a very long time, an elections department worker passed me a single sample ballot through the glass window, and a Republican operative standing there, a woman, looked at me, and she just saw an opportunity. She knew I hadn't, it's not like I picked it up off a table, and she said, "He's got a ballot." Click, click. He stole a ballot. And the next thing I knew, I was surrounded by people pushing and screaming. The funny thing was, we rode down in the elevator, and the same people who were yelling and screaming, they were real quiet with no cameras on in the elevator. Only when we got downstairs did they start up again.
And of course, a little bit of legend from all of that is the man behind the Brooks Brothers riot, famously, is Roger Stone. He was outside the building orchestrating a lot of what was taking place here. But the point, though, being that by creating that sort of circus atmosphere around the elections department, it led to Dade County actually stopping counting, which ultimately meant that once the Brooks Brothers riot happened, Dade County never counted a single ballot after that.
Let me just say, by the way, that when I got the police very nicely escorted me to safety because I was concerned. I had a chance to see the canvassing board and the elections personnel. They were terrified, and you're absolutely right. Immediately after that, they voted to stop counting ballots.
So we'll have to see if some sort of circus-like atmosphere gets created again by Republicans to try to stop the counting this time.
Let's hope not. Let's hope that everybody respects the process and is willing to let all the ballots out there be counted, and then we'll know who won.
Joe Geller, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay, we'll be right back.